Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome back to another empowering episode of Going from Chaos to Calm with Your Finances, where we dig deep into the spiritual, mental, and physical of our finances and our financial well being. And we're here to show you how to navigate the twists and the turns of your financial journey, helping to transform your chaotic life into calm with your money. I am your host, Saran Baker, and your guide on this incredible journey to cultivate an abundance mindset and build wealth that will revolutionize your relationship, not only yourself, but with your money. So it's not just me here talking every week. I want to hear from you too. Be sure to say something in the chat, say hello. Be sure to make comments, ask questions, because we want you to be a part of this incredible financial community. You can also join my community by going to joinsaran.com, where you can be a part of a group of like-minded women and wealth creators who are working to bring calm into their finances and create generational wealth. So get ready to shift your financial chaos into calm, because right now, today, we are talking about a topic that is on so many people's minds, and that is student loan forgiveness. How do I get it? Where do I find it? Am I eligible? Is there going to be another opportunity for me to do it? Is it going to help my payments? All those questions that we have, because we went and got the degrees because they told us to, and now we got the bill to show that we got educated. So settle in, get you a pen and a paper. My special guest today is Tamika Jones Tab. She is a Philadelphia native. Philly is in the house tonight, y'all. But she's an educator and an entrepreneur. And guess what? You see my fancy Virginia State jacket and shirt. She is a graduate of the Virginia State University, and also a graduate of Cheyney University and Gwendolyn Mercy University. I can't say that. Gwendolyn Mercy University. She got a lot of degrees, y'all. But she's a proud HBCU graduate. She's had over 20 years of leadership and professional experience in various educational roles. And she's a reading specialist, and her post-secondary work with doing work for a program called Gear Up. But she works with high school students and providing college and career readiness. She found that her niche, a part of it, was really education focused and career transition. Currently, she is working a dual enrollment. She works as a dual enrollment educator that has enabled her to work closely with high school students and higher ed stakeholders simultaneously. But she's an edupreneur, which I never heard that word, so we're going to dig into that. But she strives to establish and raise money to support students going to high school, scholarship money, particularly those who are admitted to HBCUs. Y'all, she is giving back. But one of her specialties is student loan forgiveness. She is a consultant, and she helps people with that in her community. And so it only made sense to me to reach out to her as a fellow graduate of the Virginia State University, and a woman in finance, and a woman building her own empire, for me to reach out to her and say, hey, sis, let's get on live. Let's talk about this. Let's help our friends. So I want to present to some and introduce to others on our stage today, Mrs. Tamika Jones Tabs. Welcome, Tamika.
Hey, Saran. How are you today?
Are you?
I am
so
good.
excited. I just can't believe we're back together.
It's only been just a couple years.
Just a couple. I mean, it's like we're neighbors again. So introduce yourself to the people. I told them a little bit about you, but I want us to have a robust conversation, but tell the people a little bit about yourself.
So, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tamika. So, with that being said, I am a Philly girl, Philly born and raised. I went to Virginia State, one of the best HBCUs in the entire world. You see, we rocking our orange and blue today, orange and blue, orange and blue, orange and blue. But I went to Virginia State thinking I was gonna make all the money, be a business person. We were marketing majors,
Yes.
doing our thing. And then when I realized after graduation, I was looking for employment. I needed to come back to Philly. And after coming back to Philly, I had an opportunity to go into education. And from there, it was no stopping, no holds barred on my trajectory. And my niche came from doing education with dual enrollment, getting students prepared, urban students, particularly and specifically young people that look like me. They were not prepared for high school. So how are we going to prepare them for college? And that is where I've been for the last 20 years. And that's where I started my business as a result of working in this field in education.
Listen, I love that because it's just so important for us to kind of know the journey. We've all, us HBCU students, we can all tell a tale of, maybe how we almost didn't get there, or
Right.
how we almost didn't get out, or how we didn't almost stay. But, the other story that's not really being talked about, and I call it people our dirty little secret, right? I've referenced this on many of my shows before, but the dirty little secret is those student loans.
Girl.
Some of them are six figures.
Girl.
Some 25,000, 50,000, 100,000, 150,000,
Yes.
200,000 for
Yes.
the education
Yes.
that they told us we needed to
Right.
make the money
That's right.
that doesn't add up to pay the bill.
Right.
Right.
And we're still not making the money. We're still not making it, but we still have, yeah.
And my favorite, thing is to really, take a look at, because we're the product of the A Different World, show.
Right.
We're a product of Go to School. We was down with Whitley and Dwayne Wade. I'm going
That's
to
right.
school. I
Right.
didn't really pass my math class, but if I get into a college, I'm going.
That's right.
Whitley and Dwayne is gonna be on campus,
That's
right?
right.
I still ain't met no Dwayne Wayne, and I ain't seen Whitley neither. But with that, we're not talking about the student loan debt, because the student loan debt hasn't stopped us from living. We still bought cars, we still bought houses, we still took care of our kids, but that debt is like back here on our shoulders. So
Yep.
I know one of the main things we're going to talk about today is going to be the student loan forgiveness, because so many people who are eligible for it don't know and haven't done the paperwork.
That's right.
Right.
That's
so,
right.
Let's talk a little bit because the student loan forgiveness programs have changed. So let's talk a little about what the state of student loan forgiveness is right now.
Wow. So, as you mentioned, there are a lot of things that's going on in the world of student loan debt, as well as Department of Education and politics. Let's be real about that. So the state of everything that's going on is that we are right now in the precipice of changing with the laws, changing with how people function. Right now, 1.7 billion for 29,000 borrowers have been through the process of student loan forgiveness. Like, there is an opportunity for all of us to take advantage of this. And
Wait. Say that
Yeah.
number again. How much has gotten forgiven?
$1.7 billion
With a B.
with a big old B. With a big old B. Forgiven.
People receive their letters.
Forgiven.
Okay. Go ahead. Keep rolling.
And with that said, I always say, student loan debt is bondage. It is another form of slavery. It is a way to keep you down, for you to feel like you are trapped in this cycle that you cannot go beyond, and that there's always an opportunity for you to move, but you can only move but so much, because you're flooded with this bondage of student loan debt. And why not you? Why not you being free from this opportunity? Or not even opportunity. The opportunity is not the bondage. The opportunity is getting out of the bondage. So once you get out of this process, then you can become part of that $1.7 billion. And let me just, I'm a educator. I'm a teacher by trade. So I come with my notes. So let me just drop off some numbers for you. Okay.
Oh, wait. I might get my pen.
Come get some of this.
I'm a good student. I brought a piece of paper.
And I tell my students, don't go anywhere without a pen and paper, because you never know when some gems gonna come. So check this out. As I mentioned, the 1.7 billion, right? Now, total relief through PSLF, $56.7 billion for over almost 800,000 borrowers since October 21 have been forgiven. PSLF, and we'll talk a little bit about that. 11.7 billion for almost 513,000 borrowers for what's called TPD, the total and permanent disability. So some people sitting around and are on disability, they qualify for student loan forgiveness.
Okay.
22.5 billion for more than 1.3 million borrowers who cheated or who were cheated by their schools. There's a thing called borrower's defense out there. Borrower's defense, if your school just hastily closed and you didn't know anything about that, there's an opportunity for you to get borrower's defense. That's part of PSLF. And then borrowers who originally took out 12,000 or less for college, and you're enrolled in the SAVE plan, we'll talk a little bit about that. You can get your 10 years of repayments. You can get that forgiven. So that part right there, $12,000. If you sitting there in your account and $12,000 is sitting there and you can't get over that hump, you can be forgiven with student loan forgiveness. And people just sitting there struggling, not knowing that something so simple as just having that 12,000, that's a little bit of money for some people, but that's a whole lot of money for a lot of people, and you can be forgiven.
Wait, you are blowing my mind right now, right? Now, and I say that because I know a lot about the PSLF myself, but still, you can always know more, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so the addition of if it's less than 12,000, and if you have a disability, if you have all these things, those are things to think about. Now, how does somebody find out if they qualify for any type of student loan forgiveness?
Well, I definitely love this question because even with clients today, I always ask them, do you have student loans? They say yes. Most people will say yes. Then my question is, have you ever heard of student loan forgiveness? Everything that's going on, even if you don't watch the news or watch CNN or whatever, you see anything on TikTok, everybody is talking about student loan forgiveness. So I always ask people, have you ever heard of it? And they say yes. But you know what, Saran? One thing that comes up, they always say yes, but I know I don't qualify. And I'm
How do
like,
they know?
how do you know that?
I get that. You know what's funny? I get that also. So one of the things that I do, just as an aside, one of the things I do with my agency is I'm on their HBCU student loan debt task force. And
Nice.
what we do is we go out and we educate people on ways to get out of student loan debt if you
Yes.
don't qualify for any of the public student loan forgiveness, right?
Right.
So
Right.
if you're, I know I have a lot of corporate people that I work with who, they don't fit any of those buckets. They don't have any opportunity. So we work with them and we put together financial plans for them. But the thing is that even they don't even go and check and see if they're eligible. They
Right.
make the assumption
That's right.
that it's not for them. And I'm like, at least check and
That's right.
see what you qualify for, right? And
Absolutely.
so that's been the biggest thing because I can count myself in that 1.7 billion forgiven. I got my letter. Because you
Amen.
know what?
All to that. Yes.
Because
Yes.
you know what? I work in finance. And so I said, let me find out as much as I can
Uh-huh.
about this to see if I have any eligibility. And
Right.
I waited it out and I went to different trainings. I went to everything that was around it. And some of it was like swirls in my head. And some of it was like, let me just do what they said and push this
Right.
button and
Right.
put this in and see what's what.
Right.
Right.
And how
But
many people do that? But what? Not even that. Not even how many people do it. How many people have time to do that and not feel overwhelmed by it and not feel like, oh, I'm doing this wrong, or again, I don't qualify anyway. You know?
well, and I think it's the fear. I think it's more the fear of asking.
Yes.
Because if you call, you're gonna be on phone for 8 hours,
That's
right?
right. Absolutely.
Um, and then it's well, if I call and what if they say no? It's like you don't want to get a no when you're like, man, I got this 75,000 in student loans, and I wonder if. And then you get on the phone with this person who is just doing their job, so we won't, poo-poo them for that. But they don't know either.
Right. Right.
You're like,
Tired.
help
They
me,
tired. So they don't know.
help me through understanding this, right? And
Right.
so, what's the best way for somebody to figure out if they qualify?
Well, the immediate response, the DIY, is can you check off these boxes? So, do you work full time? Most people may say yes, right? Then, do you work at a qualified employer? What does that look like? So, qualified employers are nonprofit organizations, tribal organizations, or companies. If you're in the military, law enforcement, if you're a first responder, in healthcare, in education, the clergy, if you work full time as a clergy, you get a W-2, you qualify for PSLF. So those are the quick ones that you can think about or ask yourself, do I qualify? So you always want to ask yourself, do I work full time? All right. Boom. Perfect. Check that off the list. Now, the next follow-up question to that is, where do I work full time? Do I work as what is called a qualified employer? So maybe it's a nonprofit. Maybe you're in a tribal organization. Maybe it's in healthcare. Maybe it's in the military, law enforcement, first responders, education, all those areas. Think about public service. So any organization, any company that give back to the organization or to the community, those really, you can check that off. That will make you qualified. But and then last on the total poll, last but not least though, is if you are in what's called an IDR, income driven repayment plan. So you might say, yup, you know what, Miss Saran, I'm here. I do PSLF. I'm interested in public service loan forgiveness. I work full time. I do this. I do that. But guess what? That wouldn't automatically qualify you because you might not be in the repayment plan. So if you're not in a right repayment plan, there are several. There are like almost 8. There are 3 that don't qualify. Most people will put in the standard repayment or graduated repayment plan. Those do not qualify you under the PSLF program. So then you have to be placed into the correct one. But those are the top 3 right there. Where you work, do you work full time, and are you able to be in the correct repayment plan? If you start there, then you call me. But
Okay.
if you want to do a direct check, then those are 3 right there. Before you tell yourself no, let that be your homework assignment to see if you can answer those 3 questions.
So I love that because we tell ourselves no faster than the agency would have told us no. Right. And I know it's something we have to kind of get over. It's one of those things where I'm like, you know what? They're going to have to tell me no.
That's right.
Yeah. All right. No. Okay. Well, how do I get a yes? And so I think for many people, the hard part is the no. So just to switch, so we're talking about student loan forgiveness. I hear a lot of people say, well, student loan forgiveness is stuck in court. I'm laughing because I know the real answer. You know the real answer. Student loan, they canceled it. They canceled Uncle Joe's student loan forgiveness program. It's in court. And I laugh because I tell people, I say, listen, first of all, that student loan program is in court, right? But there's a whole other one on the other side that they weren't paying attention to.
That's right.
When they was over here in court. So the one we're talking about is the one that you can still potentially be eligible for that's not in court. So keep your eye. I mean, almost everybody will say, oh no, student loan forgiveness was on pause. No, it's not. It's still on.
It is still on. Yes, it is.
Oh, look. On the look, shine the light on it.
Absolutely.
Because that's there. So all right. So what if someone has they've done the checks, they don't meet those job requirements, but they do work, they don't work for a qualifying employer, and they're corporate, but they still got student loans. So now what's next? What are my options?
I got an answer for you for that one as well. So before you tell yourself no again, there's a yes. So one of the things that I always suggest to my clients is that, okay, no, I don't qualify here. No, I don't qualify. Okay, fine. Now, this is a time for you to have a 2-on-1. I always call it a 2-on-1 because one, you can give back to the community while also helping yourself towards student loan. And what option is that? You can start a nonprofit. Remember, having a nonprofit is part of the PSLF forgiveness process. So if you create your own nonprofit, then you'll be able to be eligible for PSLF. That's it. There you go.
That's a no-brainer. Let me get my pen.
I
Wait,
mean,
you didn't pull up my link.
let's not make this hard.
I mean, that's one of the that's a great option, And I work in finance too, and I put people in plans who don't qualify. But that may be something I'll add because if you can do that, and because you still got to make the payments, right? We're in repayment status,
Mm-hmm.
eligible to make the repayments. You
That's
got
right.
to make them, but the options are there. We
Right.
just have to be more creative. I
Right.
love that.
Right. Right.
Um,
And you have two options. You can decide, especially if you're not loving your job. But even if you are loving your job, you have to take care of you first in order for you to help other people. So the first option is to create your own nonprofit. But secondly, you can go and work for those entities that qualify under PSLF. So if you're not loving your job, that's a no-brainer too. Just leave that job and go somewhere where and look, you can work for a hospital and not be a doctor or a nurse. As long as you work for that hospital, you qualify for PSLF.
oh
Again,
wow,
don't
yeah.
make this hard. Don't make this hard.
Listen, I mean, I love the answer. I love that as an option because when, especially if you're someone who also has a passion for the community for serving, right?
Right.
We're
Right.
not saying just go out here and willy nilly make nonprofits and don't do nothing. That's not what is
Not
being
at
said.
all. Not at all.
That's not what's being said.
Mhm.
It's saying go serve your community the way you love to serve under
That's right.
the right paperwork
That's right.
that will also give you some benefit as you
Mm.
serve the community,
That's right. That's
right? Want to
that's
make
right.
sure we're clear in what we're saying. We don't
That's
want,
right. Exactly.
we don't want
Don't be
nobody
sitting
to say,
here
well,
you just
they said to avoid student loans, just go sign up and you can get you a 501c3 and then you don't got to pay. That's not what
yeah,
we're saying.
no, that's not what we saying. That's not what we saying.
We're saying you love to help, you love to serve. Find a way to do it under your own umbrella. That's
That's
what we're
right.
saying. We're not saying
Exactly.
to even stop serving any other places that you're serving, but you
Hmm.
have an opportunity to build something that can give because all nonprofits aren't humongous,
That's right.
right?
That's
There
right.
are a lot of small nonprofits that do big good, and you could be doing big good and getting your student loans forgiven.
And it will be a trickle down effect because let's paint this picture. I'm going to start my nonprofit, but I know that I have young people that's about to graduate, or I have people that's my age that's still struggling. I can hire them in my nonprofit, and just like that, they're getting their PSLF as well.
Yeah. Listen, I love that as an addition. I do debt elimination. That's one of my favorite things to do with my clients as
Okay.
a financial professional, right?
Uh-huh.
So the rest of your debt, come see me. I got you. But the thing is to have options is what the
That's
big
right.
thing is, right?
Hmm.
So, all right, so we got all this great information. How else can we get help navigating student loans?
Well, again, call me. I can help you out. I'm an educator. I want to make sure that you know what's going on as well as you're going through this process. But you know what? You got to stay in tune with everything.
Mm-hmm.
I still meet adults today that say, I don't watch the news. Just like I tell my students, watch the news at least once, if not twice a day, morning, maybe in the afternoon, or even in the evening. You have to stay abreast of what's going on. Student loan, especially student loan and student loan forgiveness, it changes daily, if not weekly or monthly. Like we just had a deadline come up for December 31st. And then when it got close to December 31st, it changed. It moved into 2024. So you
Mm-hmm.
have to stay abreast of everything. You have to read. You got to have the power to say, I'm going to make this look a little differently and it's going to benefit me as well. And it's a possibility that it can happen, but we got to get out our own way. We got to.
And I think the big thing is to kind of to give an HBCU reference, is kind of like back in the day when you had to get validated, you had to keep coming back and standing in that line, and you had to keep coming back, and you had to ask more questions, and
Getting
sometimes you had to
validated was
cry in one of the
nothing.
lines.
Oh my
Sometimes you had
God,
to cry.
validation.
Sometimes you had to cry. I would always tell the freshmen when I did orientation, listen, whatever you do in validation, do not cuss anybody out. And they were like, no, because I'd be like, just cry. And you
Don't.
might not cry nowhere else in your life. Cry in the validation line.
That's right.
Because it'll
That's
help you. But if you cut somebody out, you are gonna have hell for the next 4 years
yes, and they
getting
will remember
validated.
you. They will remember
Yes.
you.
It's like, but this was before this is before they would be sending each other. Don't help that heifer.
Have a picture on the side real quick. Take
Mm-mm,
a picture and send it.
You see him? He was mean to so and so. You know that's my
That's
girl.
right.
So
That's
we're
right.
gonna send him back to the back. Listen, it was a tough time, but it was a good time.
Oh, it was a good time. That financial aid office ain't no joke.
Listen, and so we might have some parents thinking about college. They might have these 16, 17-year-olds getting ready to go to school. I hear there's some changes with the FAFSA. So is there any updates or anything you can share that might be different this year as a bonus, to our community who, they may be trying to get rid of their student loans and trying to get their kids into school?
Absolutely. So you gave me the perfect segue, which is that I'm here helping the adults, and now they have students ninth, 10th, 11th, and right now maybe in the 12th grade. So I'm helping both sides of the family. And right now with the FAFSA, if your community don't already know, Hunty with a T, Hunty, that FAFSA was a freaking nightmare. Can I tell you that?
Really?
It was a nightmare
I
because
mean, it
they
was hard back
changed
in
it.
the day.
They changed it, Saran. So this year, FAFSA, well, 2023, FAFSA changed. So it didn't
Okay.
start in October. It started in December. And
2 months
then
later.
it was glitches with the new system. So students were waiting and waiting and waiting, ready to push that button to get started. And then the whole thing, it had glitches. So now we're going into January and the site was not staying up long, or it would stay up for like 20 minutes, or it would stay up for a day and not go. It would just go, it was just a lot of disasters happening for the
Mhm.
FAFSA. I told my students right away, we're not worrying about the FAFSA yet because we're going to wait for all the glitches and the bugs and everything go out. So now we're kind of on steady footing. The
Okay.
FAFSA, one good thing about the FAFSA this year is that there are less questions. It's a little
Okay.
bit easier to navigate. I will definitely say that because at first the FAFSA was kind of, what it was, but it's definitely shorter now. There are
Okay.
still some glitches and there are some terminologies that are different. So we knew parent one, parent two. Now everyone who participates for the monetary values or the upbringing of children of their child is going into college, they're called contributors.
Oh
So
wow.
don't look for a parent name or parent one or anything like that. Everybody is considered a contributor. And the students have to send out an invitation to their contributor. It might be their mom, dad, whomever, grandmom, legal guardian. They have to receive an email invite. So the
Hmm.
student sends that link to the parent or the contributor, I would say. And there are other things that were different. There's no more EFC. Remember EFC was expected family contribution? That terminology is different. It is
I
called
expect them to tell me I got to pay the bill myself.
right. That so it's
Zero.
still in place, but the terminology is different. So an old school person who went to college or what have you, they might say, okay, well, what's your EFC? You're not going to see EFC anywhere on FAFSA. So
Okay.
that right there is called the SAI, the Student Aid Index. So there's just certain little things that you need to be aware of. Just know that the projected time frame for next year is supposed to be October again. But as
Okay.
for this year, a lot of things are happening, and much like student loans, the dates have been pushed back for FAFSA. So right now students are frantic trying to get their information in with FAFSA. I'm telling them, slow down. be patient, because your colleges won't see your information until March.
Okay. So
But
that kind of puts a little stressor
yeah,
on families and
absolutely.
to really prepare and think about it. And so that leads me to think about, and I talked about this a little bit in your bio. I want you to talk a little bit about your scholarship and how people can help, and actually, and how people can donate too
Oh,
to your scholarship, because I think that it's important for us to support those types of things, because scholarships need to come into play when we are sending our kids to school, because it's not like when we went to school. They don't have as much Pell Grant money and free money that we had. It's like flip. It's like 80% loans, maybe 10 or 20% grants.
absolutely.
And if you can get scholarships, that can help. So I want to, talk, I want you to talk a little bit about your scholarship and how we can donate, and how scholarships should come into play with planning to send our kids to college.
Awesome. Absolutely. So we have the We Are Rising Scholarship Fund. With that scholarship, there are different parts to that. So we help students with care packages. So if you want to donate toiletries, and I create the packages, or you can buy a bundle and donate to us, and we give those care packages throughout the year to students. We also have a monetary scholarship. The scholarships are, again, different tiers. One specifically for students of color that are going to either a HBCU or not, just as long as they're progressing with their post-secondary education. So there are two scholarships there. There's another opportunity for students of color to have scholarship dollars given to them if they're going to proceed with anything. They might be going to a trade school, doing cosmetology, whatever that case is. We want to be able to assist all of those students, whatever they decide to go on to post-secondary education. And again, I always tell people college is not for everybody, but I always tell my students you need to have a plan, a legal plan. I always say a legal plan after you graduate college. And we want to be able to assist in that. So the We Are Rising Scholarship Fund gives opportunities for students of color. And I make sure I unapologetically say that, because that right there is tiered to our urban youth, as well as those students who are really struggling or just need some book money. So
Right.
when they do the application, they identify where they would like to participate to get their funds sent to, and in what regard. So they'll say either tuition, or they would say book money. And
Okay.
that's one way that we get them, especially the HBCU students, because I remember it was hard. I couldn't really enjoy my college years, because my undergrad years, because I was worrying about financial aid every year. And I did have scholarships, but I didn't have a full ride.
Right.
So I'm here to make sure that whatever gaps that we can try and close for students, that's what the We Are Rising Scholarship Fund is. And I always keep that updated on my website, as well as I need to put a link on my Instagram page for that too, because we are in the season now of being able to raise money for going into next year, and having students being able to afford the opportunity to receive that.
Yeah, I love that, because it just speaks to the philanthropy that we've been able to come to, coming from a space where there weren't as many scholarships available, and
Right.
people giving money for, little brown girls and boys to go to school, to bring them, to make sure they can get education that they told us we needed to
That's
be
right.
successful. And then we watched the billionaires with a high school diploma make it
That's
happen,
right.
right?
That's right. We drunk the
And I'm
Kool-Aid.
right. And I'm not knocking them, because I mean, it is what it is. I'm trying to learn what they know.
That's right.
But at the end of the day, we have to have that plan at 17, 18 to get us to start a productive life, or what
That's
we can what they can consider a productive life.
right.
So, one of the things I like to ask my guests who come here um is some of their personal journey, because I feel like the personal journey also helps people as far as the testimony. They always say you're saved by the testimony of
Mhm,
others, and
mhm.
and that testimony can help someone else go forward. So I always like to ask my guests, kind of towards the end, similar questions about their own journeys. And you can share as much or as little as you want, but I feel that these are the things that help us to say, man, if she can do it, I can do it. And so, can you share a little bit about your own personal financial journey and maybe a setback that you faced and the lessons you learned that still brought you back to this place to be able to give at such a high level?
Wow, that's a huge question, and that speaks volumes because um so like one of the things that I always live by is that you got to have a plan. You have to have and not only a plan, you got to have a financial plan. And if you don't have a financial plan, now is the time to start getting that into order. Um One of the things that set me back, I don't even think you know this, Saran, my freshman year at State,
Hmm.
when I came home my freshman year, I lost everything in a house fire.
Oh my God, I didn't know that.
Everything gone. We had just came from freshman year. I just came back to Philly, and I think I was home a couple of weeks. Everything was gone. We didn't have. We did have insurance. That's another thing. You got to have
Right,
insurance.
right.
But when I tell you, I had nothing. I had nothing, and the Red Cross stepped in and helped us. And I always said I always want to go back and volunteer at the Red Cross for that reason.
Hmm.
Um, but now fast forward to that. What does that look like? Do you have a will? Do
Hmm.
you have an estate plan? Do you
Hmm.
have a power of attorney? Like all of those financial documents are essential to living. You got to have a car insurance. And you trying to drive your car, I bet you're going to get your car insurance. But how many people have wills? How many people have living wills? So having your financial life in order is a huge deal for me. And getting in the process now, do I have everything? Almost. I'm almost finished with getting all of my financial power work into play. And being financial literate is one thing if you don't know, but
Yeah,
surround yourself around people who do know, and then empower yourself to continue. And as you meet their level, get some more new people in your circle. Now, I'm not saying just bring anybody in your circle, but bring other financial heavyweights into your circle so that you're building off of that. Because there's no reason why we can't have access to the information. I know they're banning books now, but there's still reasons for you to have access to the information, but not just access, implementation. Get the
yeah,
information, and then what you're going to do with the information. Don't
yeah,
make excuses for yourself. Be apologetic about it, move forward, and make plans. Stick to your plans, and then create new plans. But you got
yeah,
to be financial literate, because if not, you're going to be stuck.
yeah. I love that you kind of went into my little wheelhouse because I talk about protect yourself first.
Got
I
to.
always talk about those protection documents: life insurance, health insurance, car insurance, the a
Yes.
power of attorney, the living will. I actually I actually advocate for a trust over a will.
Mm,
They're a little more expensive, but I advocate for the trust because the trust has so much more power than a
mm-hmm,
will. A will can be overridden by a judge and by a
mm.
court.
That's
A
true. That's true.
trust has is ironclad for the most part in most places. There's a small percentage of places where it can be changed or different things, but you can be very specific. It's an entity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it protects you. And so I like to talk about those things, but I love that. And I didn't know that that had happened freshman year. And so I'm glad that that has given you such a powerful lesson and made you
Mm-hmm.
such a powerful spirit for your community in Philadelphia, with finances
Yeah,
and in educating, because the education is one thing. The implementation
that's
will
right.
give you knowledge
That's
so that
right.
you know,
That's right. That's
right?
right. That's
And I
right.
think we get all caught up in we're in the information age,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which is
Mm-hmm.
info, 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 info.
Yep.
I mean, I'm a
Yep.
we're doing a podcast. I probably listen to 10 other podcasts
That's
during the day.
right.
You know
That's
what I'm
right.
saying? Because I
Uh-huh.
like information, because I like to try something new. I like to
That's
see
right.
if that can fit into, who I'm becoming, because I'm always becoming, right?
Right. Right.
And but I always try it.
Yep.
Now, am I successful at all the stuff I tried? Nope.
But you tried it though. But you tried it.
But I tried
That's
it,
right. That's
and if it's something that I really feel like is important for me to know and to master, I keep trying until I've mastered it.
right. Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that's really one of the big things. But um last but not least, well, actually not last but like three. So the top three things, what are the top three things that you believe about finances, or your top three philosophies about finance?
Hmm. I say, and I kind of mentioned this already, knowledge is power, but having financial literacy is your superpower. That's one. Another one is know the financial laws of your state. So,
Mm. Hmm.
and I always like to give this example. It's a funny one, but it's not so funny if you encounter it. You get married in a state and you get a divorce. Do you know what that looks like for your finances? Do you know how that's going to be impacted? Who's going to get what? Is it 50 here, 50% here, 80%? So know the finances of your state and surround yourself around people who know. You got to educate yourself. You got to educate yourself. And I would say, as my bonus last one, is that you got to have multiple ways, multiple streams of income coming to you. Now, I'm not saying 20 different things. I'm saying get your thing, master it, get your income coming in, and then pick something else up. You don't have to.
Apple is with it.
What is
Apple was like, thumbs up, girl.
But you gotta have multiple ways of bringing your income in. Because let me tell you something. I got laid off one time before I got into education. Nobody is going to tell me again that my lifestyle is going to stop because you decided to lay me off. Absolutely not. It's not happening again. It's
Girl, you
not.
better talk that talk, because it happened to me too. And I said, "Hey, no way, you ain't gonna never catch me slipping again.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Never."
It's not gonna happen. It's not. And if it's me just pounding the payment, getting my thing to get my income for that month, then that's what it's gonna be. But you're not gonna tell me again that my 9 to 5 is gonna stop everything that I've already got myself accustomed to and looking forward to down the line. It's not gonna happen again. So
No, listen, this has been super dope. And I've been trying to talk to you for what, about a year?
a little bit, just a little bit.
I'm instant messaging you, Tamika, we gotta meet. Tamika, where's your workshop? I'm trying to come to your workshop. Okay, come on, you gotta come on my show. I'm glad we finally
Finally,
got it together,
finally.
right? We spent the whole year living next door to each other in
I
college.
know, right?
But tell everybody how they can connect with you.
So, my business name is Being Beautifully Educated, and so just a real quick story about that. It's a play off two things: Nina Simone and James Brown. So, just letting people know that is good to be smart and cute, and being black, smart and cute ain't a bad thing either. So that's my thing. So being beautifully educated is my business. So under the name beingbeautifulyeducated.com is my website. On Instagram, I am BBE underscore educate to liberate. And my number, I have a admin number of 267-627-0345. You can text 24 hours. You're not going to get a response the 24th hour, but the following business day, you will get a response. And you can always call 267-432-2395.
Yes, I love it. I'm so thankful we were able to get together. I'm thankful
Same.
to have you here. And I want to close out, but I want to say you're gonna have to come back, and
I
I'm
would
coming to
love to.
Philly. I want to do something with you in Philly, so we'll connect on that. But let me close out really quickly. Listen, if you did not get this information today, you missed it. Please be sure to like, share, follow. You need to share this video because so many people are stuck in under student loan debt, silently suffering, and they can be free. And we have resources to help you do that. And this is just the tip of the iceberg of how you can be helped. So don't miss out on that. So again, thank you for joining me today on Chaos to Calm with your finances. It has been an incredible journey today from chaos to clarity with Tamika Jones Tabs. And I hope you leave today inspired, empowered, and you can take and ready to take control of your financial well-being and take action. That's the biggest thing. Remember, this is just the beginning of our financial journey together. If you want to dive deeper, please connect with me and connect with other like-minded women by going to join Saran.com. It's an exclusive community for women and wealth creators where I help you and I bring in my super financial friends to help you. So mark your calendars. I actually go live every week on Mondays at 8:30, but I also drop this podcast on Thursdays at 12:30 with my special guests. So before we part ways, be sure to keep the conversation going. Comment in the chat, share with your friends, like and subscribe, and we'll be back. So stay positive. Peace, love, and light. I'm your girl, Saran. Let's get that money right.